fullbacks.
Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Just into race clear. He's got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy! Pull back here for Darwin. Oh, he scored! An absolute belter! That is trademark Abdul Fatahwood.
This one into the box. Nugent over the top. Oh, what a goal! David Nugent's just scored a beauty. He's made Forest look like fools.
Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It is Sunday morning, 9:30, which means it's time for Good Morning Foxes. Although, Bad Morning Foxes probably is the best thing to call it today. Leicester City on the back of another defeat. We were 4-0 down at half-time to QPR. We're going to talk about it all, so make sure to get your comments in throughout the course of the stream. Before we get into it, Kate, what's going on? How are you this morning?
Yeah, a bit grumpy this morning. Was tired, got cold, saw 4 goals go in the wrong end. Yeah, not too great. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
I should have said, this is the last Good Morning Foxes before Christmas. So I'm glad we ended it on a high, obviously. Steve, what's going on, mate? I mean, Kate said she's cold. You must be cold with that head, mate, with your shaved head.
I don't know why I did it, but I've made the choice now, and it is a bit cold, but yeah, I'm at least I'm not full of flu, which like everyone else is, which is good.
You've done what Oliver Skip should do, I think. So yeah, Graham, you've got your scarf on, mate. I think you said you've got a bit of a cold as well. What's going on?
Yeah, I've got man flu, which obviously is worse than anybody else's cold. Just it was 7 degrees. It snowed in Riyadh, which it's never done before.
What?
Exactly.
It snowed.
Got snowed.
Forget the football. Let's talk about that
stuff. Yeah, man, I have been so freezing cold, wet, damp. And the one thing about this part of the world, the only thing that actually keeps you going is the sunshine. And once that's gone, there's fuck all else going for this place. Sorry, that's my present mood at the moment.
I woke up literally 25 minutes ago, Frankie, mate. That's why. So there we go. Right. Okay. Where do we start? I want to start with let's do something different this week. I want to start with the news earlier in the week or halfway through the week that came out. There was one of those kind of, nights on Leicester social media that descended into chaos when it was leaked by many different people that Leicester City staff were made aware they were no longer getting paid on the day they were told they were getting paid, which was the 19th of December, and that it would just be pushed back to the end of the month as usual. A little bit of context quickly. So some of the emails that have been leaked online say that, yes, they were told in December that they would be paid on the 19th of December, and that the club, with 24 hours to go, didn't change their mind, but they basically made the staff aware 24 hours in advance that it was no longer going to happen, and they were going to wait till the end of the month instead. So, obviously, it's gone in, like I said, descended into chaos. Lots of backlash online. So I'm going to come to you first, Steve. What did you think, mate, when you saw all of this happen on? Was it Thursday night? Was that when it was? Yeah. Was it Thursday or Wednesday night?
Or Thursday? Yeah.
I think it was Thursday night. What did you make to all of this, mate? Because the large majority of people have completely have said that this is ridiculous. It's terrible what the club have done at such late notice. And for me, Steve, I don't know about you, but it's not really the case they're not being paid before Christmas. It's telling them 24 hours in advance, right? That's for me the problem here.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. Like, I don't think there's a problem with telling your staff that you're going to get paid at the usual time every month. And if that was told to them at the beginning of the month, then people can make arrangements and sort things out. It's because it's so close to Christmas, and a lot of people would have been, oh, okay, well, perfect. We're going to get paid before Christmas. We can get some more gifts or buy the food or whatever. But to find out 24 hours, before that's the embarrassing thing. So it's just the little stories to keep coming out that paint the club in a bad light again and again and again. And it's not great. It's not a good look again. The fans are already pissed off, and that will just piss people off more because, look, the players aren't the ones that need the money, is it? Most people are living minimum wage, there or thereabouts. Most people
you're
living.
Sorry. You're saying that people at the club are living on minimum wage?
Not everybody, but people in the club shop, all these sort of people will be on minimum wage, pretty much. The people that work at the turnstiles and pay the food at the weekends, they'll be on minimum wage because they're 0-hour contracts. So,
the people working there at the turnstiles and in the shop. I mean, not in the shop, but will probably be people that are brought in from an agency.
Possibly.
I think the point he's making, Graham. I think the point he's making is that there will be people on there who are there will be some people, of course, on minimum wage. There will be a lot of people who just get just an average wage, like just a standard, average wage in this country. There will be some people that do live payday to payday, unfortunately, because that's just how it goes in this country. There are a lot of people who do live payday to payday. And the problem is, like I said, Graham, I mean, I'll come to you in a sec, Graham, actually. Let me come to Kate first, and then I'll let you say what you want to say, Graham. But Kate, the problem for me is here that, to change somebody's, regardless of what you think about, it's only a week or everyone, they get paid at the end of the month every other month. To change somebody's payday 24 hours before they're about to get paid, for me is crazy. Or not necessarily change it, but tell them it's changed 24 hours before. That's crazy. And something Steve said there, Kate, was it baffles me. The thing that baffles me the most is the club needed as much good PR as possible at the moment, and someone signed off this. I don't know, Kate. Tell me what your thoughts are on it.
Well, first and foremost, nobody's financially worse off. We need to make that point. And second of all, which is another point, is that you could argue that people on minimum wage probably should get paid later in the month. Otherwise, there's 7 weeks till the January payday. So that's another separate issue. But either way, from my point of view, it's really none of my business. It's between club and staff, employer and staff. But said that, it is crap to let people know 24 hours before. I'm not sure what the reason for the change is. And yeah, I'd be really annoyed. I'd be really disappointed, but it was something to deal with between the staff and the employer. I don't think it's anything to do with us. Nobody is worse off. And it doesn't really matter. This is what I get a bit frustrated about. It doesn't really matter whether you're on minimum wage or whether you're on 90 grand a week. You don't know what people's expenditure is. People live within their means no matter what their wage. So if everybody's pay is delayed, your mortgage could be 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month if you're a high earner. I don't know. So it doesn't really matter what you earn because you spend and cut your cloth accordingly. So that is irrelevant. But what I would say is, letting them know one day before is really poor, and you're trying to buy some goodwill. And it just doesn't look very good, especially at Christmas time. Like, I totally understand aligning payroll dates. It makes sense from a business management point of view. But the timing, it could have been done in January, couldn't it? That could have been the time to do it. Or announce that from next year, Christmas early payday won't be happening. I'm not really sure what the need was for the urgency that apparently it is that you only let them know a day before. So, but for me, to be honest, they aren't financially worse off. They'll still get their same pay at the end of December. But I get the sentiment in that, you make plans, you think, oh yeah, I'm getting paid on the 19th, so I'll buy that on the 20th. I get it. It just forces people to perhaps put things on the credit card over Christmas. I don't know. But if I'm brutally honest, it's something between the club and the staff to sort. I don't think it's anything to do with the fans.
Graham, let me come to you because I think Kate made a point there. Like, I'm not being funny, Graham, but for me, if I let's say it was the 10th of December I was told I'm getting paid on the 19th. My spending is going to be done a little bit differently in the month. My Christmas spending is going to be done differently because I'm thinking, right, well, I'm still getting paid before Christmas. I'm getting paid on the 19th. So you might spend differently throughout the month. And then you get to the 18th. All right, nice, payday tomorrow before Christmas. And suddenly I get an email through the door as I'm about to leave the office. Nah, sorry, you're not getting paid until after Christmas. You know, that would piss me right off. And there are reports. It's only reports. There are reports that there were a lot of staff who were in tears. You know, everybody's situation is different, of course. You know, I'm sure there will be. I don't know how many, but there will be some people, Graham, who have been really badly affected by this.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that last statement. I think it's very poor from the club, piss poor from the club. They've obviously set up a system, found out the day before it's going to go that it can't go. But this is none of our business. Those people that have been sending emails from the club have better be very careful that they've not sent them from a club machine or whatever. And what none of you have mentioned is that in the same said email, the MD said, I'm really sorry that this has happened. If any of you are in any financial difficulties whatsoever because of this, please contact us in confidence and we will sort out a loan. Why haven't you mentioned that?
Well, we were going to get to it, but first of all,
Well,
why should they be? Why should somebody
this week?
Why should somebody need to get a loan though?
They're not getting a loan. How many? If you work,
That's
for a
what
company,
you just said. You just said that. You just said a loan.
It's not. Have you worked for a company? And Locks, you're really not listening. Have you worked for a company where somebody you go, oh shit, I'm not going to make it to payday. Can I have an advance on my salary? And they give you it.
We've done that.
So it's not going to some payday shark. It's going to your employer to get some cash. I just think it's a terrible. Look, I found out on the same day that my best friend's got brain cancer, and this is his last Christmas. They're we tend to get everything with the club gets put into this big pot of we hate the club and we hate everything about it. It is absolutely stupid. They should have told them why they couldn't be paid them this day. But really, it's been put out as if it's the biggest crime of the century. And I know you said nobody's died during this, but really, are we talking about this now? Why are we talking about this? I've come to talk about our shit performance.
We're going to get there. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about sunshine.
This is a positive story, isn't it? Before the game.
We're going in chronological order here, Graham. This was Thursday. Now we'll get on to Saturday in a second, mate. But yeah, no, look, there's people that agree with you and Kate. Absolutely, yeah. There's people that think that this is, just a nothing story. And I do think it would be a nothing story if it happened a month ago.
I didn't mean it like that. I just
no. Yeah, I mean, there are people who think that.
It's none of my business. That's happened in previous jobs to me with shifts of payday, and it's fucking annoying. Don't tell the world about it. It's not a fan. For me personally, this type of thing is not a fan debate. And if the employers are frustrated, which I totally understand why they will be, then they need to approach their employer directly and not send copies of emails to people to put on Twitter. That would be my view.
What I would say as well, just finally on this topic, Steve, I mean, I even think if, maybe this is naive of me, I even think, Steve, if there wasn't as much negative press as there already was at the club, and the fans weren't as unhappy as they are, I feel like this would be less of a, there would be less of an outrage by lots of fans. If the fan base itself was happier, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it wouldn't, but this is my point, Steve. They needed good PR, and this has happened, and it's you kind of just like have head in fucking hands, thinking, "Oh my god, not another thing for fans to go." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Kate, you made a very good point a couple of weeks ago about adding stuff to a melting pot and it just blowing over again. And this is exactly the same sort of thing. It's just the PR, isn't it? Like, I agree with both of you. I don't think it's a story necessarily. I think it's something that's been blown out of proportion because, Fair Play to Club offering, payday loans or whatever it is, not even a loan, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just PR wise, it just doesn't look good. And especially with the rumours in the summer of the club not having any money, which I don't think is true, but just those little bits and pieces keep adding to the negativity around the football club. And let's get the positive story out of the way. Let's move to the negative.
That's proven, Steve, by Locke saying if we weren't having such a shit time, people wouldn't talk about it. That proves the point entirely.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also, Kate, to that point, there are two things. One, we have an emergency broadcast about it, don't we, Locks? The way you laid your. But at no point do you put both sides of the story. At no point did you read in the email that it said that they were going to get how did I see it? And you didn't see that the MD said, "I'll sort you out if you got a bit strapped for cash this week." And why did you put that into the broadcast?
Because that wasn't the story, right? The story was that the club had changed everybody's pay date a day in advance, 5 days before Christmas. So look, there's people.
It does sting a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about it. I think it's a load of crap. But I think that the overreaction is as I say, if I was doing a balanced piece of journalism and we're not balanced, I would have put that in as well. And I wonder if you'd have got the same reaction from everybody if you'd have said that.
Well, I think I probably would have spanned the loan thing in a negative light as well, but who knows? Who knows? Nah. Listen, we're going to go from one negative thing to a positive thing. I think positive. What was the score yesterday, Steve? Can you remind me? Oh God.
Right. I think we were 4-0 down at half time, which it hasn't happened for a while. Which is, hey, it was a positive because it was 4 and not 3, so we can change the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't really know where to start with yesterday. Kate, let me come to you. Same 11, same starting 11. I think rightly so. There was some positivity about the game in terms of some optimism that we would get another result. 1-0 down in 3 minutes, I think. 4-0 down, 2-0 down in 3 minutes. Is that right? That's not
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Sorry, 1-0 down in 2 minutes. 4-0 down by half time. Okay, I mean, look, I said yesterday on the watch along, I don't want Marty to go, but I think he has to. That's where my view on that hasn't changed. I just think now, I think in the past you would have said, okay, you have hope that we're going to turn it around under Marty, and in the short term we're going to turn it around. We might go on a bit of a run, but look, we had a couple of really good results. We had 7 points from 9, and then you're 4-0 down at half time. It almost feels, Kate, now that we're just running in treacle a little bit. It's kind of like we do have a positive, but then it's suddenly straight to a negative. And I don't know, Kate, talk to me. How are you feeling? How are you feeling now, hours after the game on the situation? Because I do think it's time for him to go, probably.
I just feel that we're more, I put it on Twitter yesterday, just more of an enigma than we've ever been. Like, I can't figure us out. Every performance, good or bad or woeful in this instance, is just really baffling. And I don't understand it. Like, we seem to be picking up a bit of form. The last 3 games have been all right. Last weekend was the best of the 3. We played some really good stuff, save for a howler from Jakob. It was a pretty exemplary performance from everybody. And you go into the next game hoping that you can continue that form and that momentum. And then you just left reeling at what you're watching in the first couple of minutes. I mean, it was pretty much as soon as we turned over possession, and that left-hand side with Luke Thomas, or right-hand side, got absolutely battered all game, and it started from there. And I just felt every time we crossed into the box, it was going to be a goal for them. Jakob doesn't fill me with confidence. He isn't commanding enough. And I was really looking forward to QPR yesterday because you sit quite close. You're really on top of the ground. You're really on top of the pitch. But seeing that up close was chaos. It was absolute chaos. It was a game that I didn't want on Zoom, and I got it on Zoom. And some of the defending, all those 4 goals happened right in front of us, and it was just absolutely disgraceful. Like, the left arm didn't know what the right arm was doing. There was complete disarray in the box. Nobody knew which player to get. Players were being left unmarked. It's just, I feel for Marty. I know exactly what you're saying in that, it's a results-driven game, and Marty he's walking a very tight line now, and it wouldn't surprise me if we got rid of him. But at the same time, after having that performance last Saturday and 90 seconds into the next match, you literally concede so soft. He's got such a soft underbelly, such a weak spine of a team. He must be pulling his hair out. I don't understand what happens with these players. And, I think I put the video on Twitter of them having a little team talk after the third goal went in. Like, there's no one shouting at each other when they concede. There's no one tearing anyone a new one. There's no, shouting from the keeper like Casper would go bananas, wouldn't he? There was I just can't explain it. It's completely perplexing. I don't know whether anybody else feels like that, but I can't. I'm angry about it, but I'm more confused. I can't figure us out, and I've not really been like that with Leicester before. I just can't figure us out week to week what we're trying to achieve.
Graham, try not to talk about the keeper here, because I want to come to him a bit later on.
Oh, you can't wait to rinse him.
Discussion.
You can't bloody wait to rinse him. Which one of the first 3 goals was his fault, by the way?
Oh yeah, nice of you to limit to the first 3. Nice of you to limit to the first 3.
And the fourth goal was. Did the guy actually have a shot? Was trying to cross it?
It doesn't matter, Graham. It was fucking shit.
Right.
Anyway, we'll talk about it. We'll get onto it. We'll get onto it. Look, listen, Graham. I know for the past few weeks you've been saying, like, as well, you wouldn't be surprised if he goes, right? Like if he was sacked. What are you thinking now? Because for me, I mean, to be, I said on the stream, and what I'm about to say, it sounds disrespectful towards QPR. It's not meant in that way, but if we were 4-0 down at halftime to Man City, it would be embarrassing. But 4-0 down at halftime to QPR, I mean, it just shows where we're at the moment, Graham, as a club. I mean,
Go unlock them in the mood. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Bring it. How?
Bring it. QPR played like fucking Man City. We had two wingers that were on either side that were on form. We have to play we have to play another team, yeah? They got to us early doors, yeah? That poor old Thomas did exactly what he was meant to do with the winger. Held him off, and the ball's passed. Where was the midfield player? Mavadidi, for the second goal, Mavadidi lost the ball in the middle of the half. I'm not saying that we weren't crap, but I'm not saying that QPR was shit. They're on a run of forms. They attacked as well. They knew exactly where to put that ball in that area on the 6-yard box. And we had players today. Ricardo didn't turn up. Nelson had his worst game I've seen him. Jakob didn't cover himself in any glory. Thomas, great with throwing free kicks. Midfield, where was JJ? Where was JJ? Yeah, JJ disappeared yesterday. Thomas just didn't bother in the end trying to tackle anybody, and just stick his leg up where the ball went over the top of his head. Donkey over Reed. He disappeared because he didn't get any service, and Ayew and the 2 wingers were just standing there. They couldn't, even when they got the ball, they couldn't do anything. So
you're admitting we were fucking shit. We were shit.
Yes,
that's what I said at the start.
We were shit, but I'm also you've got to also understand that we were shit because QPR never let us get in the game. By the time we got in the game, it was all over.
I didn't say that wasn't the case. I said it was embarrassing to be 4-0 down at half time to QPR. It was embarrassing,
but
Graham.
You're saying that, but again, that's that kind of like mentality, isn't it? That we're a fucking big club. If it's Man City, it's all right. If it's Liverpool,
no. I said it wasn't okay. I said if it was Man City, it's still not okay. It doesn't matter who you play. You should set up a game. How you go into a football game as a professional club with professional players? You should never be 4-0 down at half time. I don't care if it's Real Madrid, Graham. You should never be 4-0 down at half time.
So what happens to you? Like I keep my famous saying is like in the military: first contact with the enemy, all plans go out the window. Did anybody think that wasn't the best squad we could have put out yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 11 that should have started.
Did anybody think that they were going to score a goal in the first minute? No. Did anybody think they'd score a goal in the second minute? I am still in and spent most of yesterday in shock. Not big shock, but I was stunned. don't you think those 20, 21-year-old, 23-year-old men on that pitch were as equally as fucking confused as we were? Don't you think Jakob's got no confidence because every time the ball comes in from the right, somebody stands on his 6-yard line and puts it in the back of the net? We're as equally like, and this is my point I'm coming to, we're happy when we put 3 goals past the team. Do you think the whole of the teams that we put 3 goals past the last couple of games or whenever we have go, well, that's it, we're shit, season over, get rid of the manager, get everything? Because this league is one of those leagues where we can win 2 in a row, lose tomorrow, as we did yesterday, and put somebody to the sword next week. We're not a top Premier League team. We're not even a top Championship team. So back to your original question, I'm Marty in, but I'm not Marty in because I'm either Marty in or Marty out. I'm status quo. Unless we get somebody in that is going to motivate the same shit players that 2 other managers and now 3 other managers can't motivate, we're in the same hole.
That's where I was for a long time. What you just said there. I mean, Steve, let me come to you because I think the thing that Graham accused me of missing things out of the payday story, so I'll accuse him now of missing out on the fact that I think this is the 4th time this season we've been at least 3 goals down in the first half.
It's the 3rd time in the last 6 games.
Oh, Jesus Christ! That is. Look, that I would agree with the overall kind of mindset that is majority on the players for me. Like, you can spend all the hours you want in the week preparing for a game, but when you concede 4 goals or 3 goals in the first half, the manager's pretty helpless at that point. And especially how the first goal happened as well. Like the first goal was kind of. I'm not sure. Other than obviously like being better at defending, better defending coach. And I'm not sure what the manager himself could have really done to avoid that first goal. But where are you now, Steve? Because as I said, like I like Marty as a guy. I do kind of like Marty's man management style as well. I think. And I still think that under the right circumstances, I think Marty probably would be a very good manager for us. And I don't get any joy in saying that I think Marty should go, but I am now starting to think, Steve, that it is probably time. Like I just think after this latest result, it's kind of just like my worst case scenario 2 days ago, Steve, was. Well, QPR were quite streaky under Marty, so we might go on a run of 5-6 games, and then we might lose. We might not win in 6. Something like that. But at the minute, it's worse than that.
Sorry. Before you go to Steve, before you go to Steve on the battering front, could do with fish and chips. That would be nice. Do you think you could find a more highly motivated team yesterday than QPR were to beat us?
I don't know.
I will say, Graham, I do agree with you in the sense that QPR were outstanding yesterday. You have to give them the props. They blew us out of the water, and we had no chance. Once that second goal went in, the players gave up. You could see. It is embarrassing. Look, I'm actually probably because like Kate, you went to the game. Locks, you did a live show. Graham, you watched it in Saudi. I assume you watched it live, Graham. Yeah. So everyone else is really angry.
Yeah, it was on the same dodgy stream you guys were.
Yeah, but I actually think I might be the calmest one here because I just don't care now. Like to go to concede 3 or more goals within 6 games, 3 times in 6 games is embarrassing. And look, that it's inexcusable for everybody. The players, the manager, everybody. At the moment, look, if he stays or goes, it is what it is. I think there's arguments on both sides, but I think that maybe if there's a consistent pattern coming along here that 4 times this year we've conceded more than 3 goals in the first half, that can't go on. So yes, I think he's probably going to have to go at some point before the new year, depending on the result against Watford and how we play. I do think the results that we got in the last 3 games papered over the cracks a little bit because we were poor against Derby in the second half and poor against Bristol City in the second half, and they both came out and played really well in that second half after going sort of 3-0 down or 2-0 down. But on that point, if they played really well in that second half, why didn't we come out all guns blazing. Who cares if we lose 5 or 6? Let's go at them. Where was our performance in that second half? It wasn't there. So overall, it's embarrassing. It really is. But that's Leicester City. That's this season, isn't it? We don't know who's going to turn up, who's going to play. As in, we know who's going to play in the team, but we don't know how they're going to play. And yeah, the defending was just bad. It's just been really bad. And I think maybe it's time to drop Vestergaard. I think he might be one of the issues. He's played well this year, but actually, has he played that well? Like passing wise, he's great.
For fast? Yeah.
Well, no, maybe we can find. Maybe Oliver Skip can play centre back like he has done. But at the moment, I don't know.
And at centre back, I think he can do both in one game at the same time.
Go on. Steve.
I'm very sort of on the fence about it all. I've realised over the last couple of weeks that I've taken a piece out of Graham's book and just been like, it's football. Don't let it ruin your day. It's fine. It's before Christmas. Everyone's happy. But I will say, positive for the players for going on strike for 90 minutes, in solidarity with the staff that didn't get paid. Fair play to them. That was actually quite nice of them. So,
yeah, I mean, Kate, Marty after the game said his players let the fans down. That's what he was getting at in the interview post game. I've got a feeling you might. I mean, look, no matter what we think of the manager, again, like what I'm saying about you should never be 4-0 down at half time. As much as that's on the manager, it's on the players as well. Like I said earlier, like multiple times this season, you plan all week for a game and you concede in the opening few minutes, and the managers must just be sat there scratching his head. What the hell's going on? But what I would say, Kate, right, and this is my response, and this is why I'm a little bit frustrated this morning. If the players let the fans down, why did the same players last until the 63rd minute? What happened there?
Yeah, to not even make some demonstration that you're trying to haul some crap performers off at half time for that terrible first half. That was just, I didn't get that at all from Marty. It was a baffling decision. I couldn't believe the same 11 came out after that performance. The same 11 trotted out onto the pitch. It was absolutely madness, really. We could have maybe created a bit more. I'm not saying we'd ever get it back. The game was probably gone at that point, but Ramsey did so well when he came on. All the subs did really well when they came on. It was really good to see. That was the brightest part of the game, really. Silko Thomas did really well, I thought, as well. Ramsey looked really sharp. Hamza just got the fans cheering a bit with some real crunching tackles. One in particular where I thought the guy's kneecap flew into Rosette at one point. But it's the stuff that you love to see. They came on with effort. They came on immediately. We looked a bit better going forward. Not that we could look any worse because we had 0. There's no reflection on Bobby particularly because Bobby had a quiet game yesterday. But like Graham said, he had no service. I don't think we really got it into that third. I don't think we got it really into that third once during the first half. I think we looked at half time at the XG and it was something like 0.04 or something.
Yeah, we had one shot off target basically in the first half.
Yeah. But JJ had a poor game. I thought Skip was our man of the match. If everybody played like Oliver Skip yesterday, it might have been a bit of a different result. Skip is he's just such a steady Eddie. And then when he moved into centre back, like the guy just does what you want him to and he gets his head down and cracks on. And I just don't know what's going on. But yeah, Marty didn't cover himself in glory yesterday, but he started the best team. He started the team that really won comfortably last weekend. There was no problem with the starting 11, but something's just going so severely wrong. But what I will say is that we've said there that we've been 3-0 down at half time in the last 3 games. And I think I saw Steve mention yesterday that it's 7 times this calendar year, which demonstrates to me it's not the manager's issue in a way. It's these players, man. Yeah. There's 4 other occasions we've been 3-0 down at half time when Marty wasn't here. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know what's going on. And I don't want Marty to go because I really don't believe that is the critical problem at Leicester. I don't think the manager is the critical problem. And it's just having the patience and hoping we don't get relegated with a points deduction or whatever in the meantime. That do we just hold out? That's the constant conundrum going around my head, because any other manager would come in and do exactly the same, because these players, or a large chunk of them, I I won't treat them all similarly, but a large chunk of these players just haven't got it in them for this division. And it's really disappointing, because if they had the right application, I don't really know what goes on, but they had the right application, we could be doing really well. And, Fatawu started to get really emotional and angry and cross. And I get it. That doesn't help your game. You've got to regroup. You've got to go again. You've got to try and calm yourself to bring out a performance. And we're just not getting it right. But that's my thing about the Marty sacking, is that I don't think that's the critical issue, and you're still going to get the same symptoms because you're not treating the problem.
Yeah, I mean, Graham. I don't know where to start.
It feels like we're at a funeral.
Yeah,
I promise I'll be nice. Say what you want, Lux. I'll be nice.
No. Yeah, Graham. I think it's. I think a lot of people, Graham, have said recently that Marty's finally found his best 11, which is hilarious now following what we've just watched. Because it is kind of it feels almost, Graham, this morning like it is back to. Back to step one kind of thing. It's like, well, what does Marty do next? We've got a game on Boxing Day, and it's who the hell does he pick? It was, yesterday it was easy. It was like, well, you pick the same 11 that's played the last two games. Easy decision. But now it's kind of like, surely he has to make some kind of change to that 11, because the team that you've just put out got battered 4-0 at half time.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. Firstly, the point about sending them all out in the second half. If it had been me in there, I'm going, you bunch of wankers, you fuck off, you get back on that pitch. Yeah, your guys in this problem. I'm not going to take you off so you can sit and hide. Go and face it. I
said this on the watch long, Graham. I did say to the lads, is it a punishment kind of thing? Is it like, you've got us in this fucking mess? I ain't giving you the easy way out and sitting on the bench for the next 45 minutes.
And then when he did bring the players on, the players that could come on, there was no hope after 60 minutes. There was no hope. So they could come on, they could play their natural game, and they could do this. I think. This sounds really, really odd, but I think we played the same team that started yesterday. It was. We've had two games where we won. We've had one game where we played better. You've all had an off day today. Go out and prove me wrong. And also, again, nobody.
Graham, if you could make one change yesterday, who would you change? One player, who would you change?
Jakob.
Yeah, rubbish. I think
he is
the least of the problems. I tell you who I'd change. I'd change Ricardo, because he was the worst player on the pitch.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Ricardo was fucking terrible. He was terrible.
As a centre half and as a goalkeeper, if your wingers are letting people come and put your defence, your left back, right back, whatever, your midfielders are letting people slice the ball across your 5-yard area or 6-yard area where you've got no chance to recover or dive or whatever, and they're just standing there. Nelson had a really poor game. I know you're picking Jakob up, but Nelson just stood there. Nelson gave the ball away. Nelson didn't defend well. So. But it's you were 2-0 down after 2 minutes. We like I think everybody said is we could have done somebody to just go at that point, not when we were 3-0 down. Go, okay, let's reset, let's have a go at it. But I think the other point about how we set up is, so what we're going to do is, are we going to set up so we don't lose 3-0 every game? Does that mean that we don't attack? We put we play 5 at the back and the rest in midfield and put somebody else hopefully on up front. Do we go into a game like that?
How many other teams go into a game like that, Graham? None.
What?
There's not many teams in this division that go into a game. There's not many teams in this division that go into a game just trying not to be beaten 3-0.
Well, that's what you're telling me. That's what I'm hearing. But no. We can't keep scoring goals. Then we must. Do we go ultra defensive? If that's the issue,
that's fucking basics. That's basics. That's basics. Not being 4-0 down at half time. That is a basic thing. Like there are teams there's not many teams that go into games trying not to be 3 goals down, but they're still able to attack the game. There's still, you're still able to be a threat.
I know everybody's saying paper over the cracks, but do you think, yes, and I know we've had lots of 3-0
Yeah.
defeats. There is something in the rationale that we get lots of 3-0 defeats that needs
Yes.
changing. And we haven't, and the only way to change that is by bringing in new players.
Yeah.
And that's not something we can do at least till January. So we have to, it worked the last two. It's as more likely for us to win 3-0 on Boxing Day as we lost 4-1 today. Because we did it we've done well in the last two games. It's not, the players didn't turn up to.
That's
That's what happens in football. If you've not got 7 or 8 players on the top of their game, you're going to lose. And you're going to lose against a highly motivated team that hated the manager, crowd behind them, a couple of players wanting to prove their point that he abandoned them and they were really good. And that whole menu recipe is what happened is a disaster.
Imagine if we do go 3-0 down on Boxing Day. Oh, God. Oh.
Well, I mean, I've said it, I said yesterday, I don't know how he survives it, but if it happened again, I think there's no question he'd be gone. I think. Graham, I'm gonna give you a challenge here, Graham. You've got to somehow try and stay quiet, right, until I come back round to you, because I know this is going to pain you hearing what everybody has to say on this, and you not being able to say anything. Kate, Jakub Stolarczyk, for me, look, he's crap. I think he's crap, Kate. I really do think he's crap. And there is, look, I know Begovic was a part of, which game was it he conceded 3 against? Was it Southampton or Sheffield United? One of the two. He conceded 3, maybe both. I can't remember. But he wasn't amazing. He wasn't perfect. Of course he wasn't. But you've got Begovic on the bench, and you've also got other club Kate, another goalkeeper who hasn't been tried yet, who was playing in the Europa League or Conference League, whichever one it was last season. He's not been given a chance yet. For me, Kate, like I know when you drop a keeper, it must hurt the confidence, which is probably why Brendan Rodgers didn't fucking do it to Danny Ward any earlier. Well, he didn't do it, but I think he's a big problem, Kate. I think he's a big problem at the back, and I don't think the defenders have that much confidence in him either, which I think is a big problem, because you saw it under Danny Ward, the same situation. Our back line had absolutely no confidence in Danny Ward, and you could sense it. You could watching the game, you could sense that our defenders were nervous that they had him behind them. So tell me your thoughts on Jakub. Do you think he should be dropped?
Yeah, I do. Even for Begovic, I thought Begovic, except for that half where he came on as a substitute when Jakub got injured, when he held on to the ball for more than 6 seconds, and he looked all over the place, to be honest. He clearly hadn't played football for a while. But apart from that, I thought after that, he was exactly what you want from a goalkeeper. I thought he instilled a bit of confidence. He was reliable. You knew he'd got areas covered. And then Jakub was straight back into the team, which I was surprised about, to be honest. But then Begovic is old, isn't he? He's getting on a bit, and it's not the future that you want. You want Jakub to have more games. But yesterday was his worst performance, I think. And I felt like every single time there was a shot, it was going to go in. And most of the time that happened. And I don't think there was some goals that I think he could have got to. I think he could have commanded his area a bit. There was a few times when him and Vestergaard had a few tete-a-tetes with each other, because Vestergaard ended up clearing it. And because we were so close to that goal in the first half, he just isn't commanding enough. He doesn't call, he doesn't shout, because we couldn't hear it. And we weren't far from them at all at that ground. I thought he had a really poor game. And obviously the mess up last week, I know they all happen. These goalkeepers across the board are addicted to that most dangerous pass in football. But that was just another thing against him, really. But yeah, he doesn't instill any confidence. He isn't commanding enough, and I think he doesn't get to attempts that I think he should do. That said, I don't know what this Vientes is like. Obviously, he's played at a really good level, but you could say that Daka played at a good level. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. So I'd like to see what he's about, I guess. But yeah, Jakub's at high risk of losing his starting 11 position, really, because it's just not good enough. And you can see that it's a bit of a cycle, isn't it? He doesn't feel confident in his back four when our backs are up against it, and the back four then don't feel confident in him. So it's a vicious cycle, really. But that back line in particular, not individual personnel, but just Leicester's back line as a whole, is just so soft. you feel like we just turn over at the first time of asking, and it's really quite pathetic. So yeah, Jakob, I think there's a strong argument if this Vientes is decent as a fair stab to just try him or bring in Begovic again.
Not long to wait, Graham. Bear with, not long to wait. We're going to come to you shortly. Steve, Jakob, mate, what are your thoughts on him? Because, there's a lot of thoughts in the chat about him. Mr. Fox Favourite says here, is Jakob just suffering a confidence issue rather than just being poo? Me personally, Steve, I think it would be... I always think back to... remember when Sam Allardyce took over Leeds? He came into Leeds for like 4 games and he instantly drops the keeper, Melier, who was a bright... People thought he was going to go on to good, big things in his career, and obviously it's faded away now. But he came in and dropped it, and I actually think, Steve, if a new manager came into Leicester, I think they would drop Jakob. But I do also, Steve, understand the sentiment behind not dropping him, because, as I said, I think that must kill a goalkeeper's confidence when you're dropped for no reason other than you're making loads of mistakes.
Well, I guess making mistakes is a reason to drop somebody, especially the last 3 or 4 games. I will say that, you both hit the nail on the head in regards to the defenders. Like, if you've got no commanding centre-backs that can organise the back line, and you're a goalkeeper that doesn't scream and shout and organise yourself, then that's an issue, So, look, I think that there's a reason we're being linked with goalkeepers in January. I think that's clear. I think that maybe Jakob isn't at the level that he needs to be, and realistically, is he a goalkeeper that can command a decent fee? Possibly. What's decent nowadays, but I just don't think he's good enough at this level at the moment. I think he's lacking confidence. He's not commanding enough. He doesn't come and claim the ball nearly as much as he should do. And his one positive, the shot stopping, seems to have sort of gone out the window a little bit recently. So, and if we keep Marty and he wants to stick to this way of playing, we're passing the ball out from the back, he can't be the goalkeeper for that. So, yeah, I think dropping him for Begovic for the Watford game makes sense. And just say, look, you'll get your chance again. It's a long season. Begovic is an old man, so don't worry about it. But a couple of games out the side will probably do him some good.
Okay, Graham, your time is now.
Quick, just to get to Graham.
Tell us why we're all wrong, Graham. Because somebody in the live chat even said they'd rather you in goal than Jakub Slarczyk.
I'd rather be in goal than Jakob. No. Let me just say this to you. One, Locks, you can't stand the bloke, and you've had it in from him for day one, haven't you, this season? So let's put that to one side. I don't like Casper. So.
I saw from day one that he was. I've actually met him whilst I was, believe it or not, I was on a run around Leicester, and I actually met him. He was also running, and I had a chat with him, and this was in the summer before Mads left, and I said to him, are you the number 1 next season then? And he kind of just like winked. So he kind of, obviously, we all knew that Mads was going to leave, but so I actually don't mind him, because normally, Graham, when I meet someone, as we're going to find out on Monday or Tuesday this week, when I've spoken to a footballer, I very much like to big them up. But the thing is, Graham, from game 1 of the season, I have thought you're not very good.
Okay. Well, I can't accept that he doesn't command his area, because he actually does come off his line and punch and catch the ball. You don't seem to mention yesterday.
That's not what commanding means.
Hang on a second, Kate. I'm a goalkeeper. I know what commanding the box means.
Commanding means, does your defender or you know who's going to go for it?
I tell you what, I think as a keeper myself, and I was standing behind Thomas, Ricardo, Nelson and Vestergaard on yesterday's form, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what they were going to do, whether they were going to come for the ball, not come for the ball, or whatever. I accept that he's not performing well, okay? You happy with that? He's not performing well. But when you're at the arse end of a pitch where you've got the rest of the team not performing well, so take the first 2 goals, he couldn't have done anything about that. Maybe the 3rd goal, he could have probably got a bit nearer. 4th goal is an anomaly, isn't it? Because the bloke didn't shoot. He was... And as a keeper, the last thing you need to do is be in 2 minds. And he was thinking, here we go again. I'm going to get another ball across the 6-yard line. My defenders aren't going to get it, and I'm not going to be able to save it. So he kind of probably left too much room because he was in two minds whether to block the 6 yard line or come to the near post, which again is a bit of his weakness. But I don't know. I don't know. Begovic, I thought he was really good the first two games. I thought he was absolutely shit the third game. I agree with everybody else that this man is not the future of the club. But there is a whole team playing badly, and once you get to the keeper, I mean, did you not see the two brilliant saves he made in the second half? One at the post and one where he came out and blocked. Didn't hear anybody mention those, and we'd have been 6-0 down.
Well, he conceded 4, didn't he?
Hang on,
6-1.
6. So you're saying that those two magnificent saves in the second half?
I wouldn't go as far as magnificent, would you? Because if he hadn't have said magnificent is where if the goal goes in, you think, you know what, keeper couldn't do much. If he happens to save it, that goes into the magnificent territory. But if he'd not saved some of those, you'd have been.
There was one where everybody thought he hit the post, but it's actually he managed to stop it. The ball going in, and the other one when the bloke was through and he had a shot and he managed to get his leg to block the ball away because it had gone.
Is that not what a goalkeeper's there for?
Right to go about the neck. I mean, they weren't magnificent. They were goalkeeper. They're what you want your goalkeeper to do because that's what he's paid to do. But you can't dismiss everything he did in the game.
No, we're not. But overall, the performance was a 4-0 spanking.
Yeah, and I'd say you can't blame him for
which we missed
the first 2 goals, and you can't, and I say, I mean, we win as a team, we lose as a team. I think that whole defensive unit yesterday, and including Aka, wasn't on point. But also, so if you're going to blame somebody, blame the goalkeeper. Take him off. Put the other guy on. I don't really care. But as a goalkeeper, proper goalkeeper, I would defend goalkeepers to the hilt because sometimes they have a really shit job to do. And if you're telling me the guy looked nervous and the players were nervous around him, I'd have been bloody nervous in goal if I'd have just had 2 goals put past me in the first 2 minutes. Where'd you go from that?
Well, this was me when Graham's talking about him making 2 saves. Roy Keane style.
Yeah, that's it. True to form, Locks.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. What are we saying? Does anybody think he is going to be sacked today, tomorrow? Prior to Christmas. To the next game?
It'll be Tuesday at 6:58, just before the Christmas show. So we're all happy, or sad, or depressed.
That would actually ruin my plans. So please don't do that, Leicester City.
No, I think it'll be.
To your point there, given what you've been slagging the club off for this week, then he's bound to fire him before Christmas.
No, he'll wait till he'll wait till the end of the month, won't he? He'll wait till the end of the month. But no, Kate, do you think he will be sacked yet, prior to the next game, or do you think they're going to give him longer?
I think they're going to give him a bit longer. Also, I think this PSR thing is probably front and centre with stuff at the minute. And maybe Top thinks a bit like we do. Like, who are you getting in? Does it change anything? Is anything going to change before we get the chance to bring in some new players? Like, I don't know if any of those answers are yes.
Is that how you were feeling, Steve?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get sacked anytime soon. It will take a battering against Watford and Derby for us to let him go. And also because Top's not in the country either. I know Rudkin's here, but Top has a tendency to want to do it in person, doesn't he? So.
Graham, I'm guessing you also don't think he's going to get sacked yet?
No, only because, as everybody else said, what are the options? Although I will say, if we do suffer another 3 or 4-0 defeat, there is a likelihood he's going. But I'd love to know what Andy King thinks. I mean, he was up and down on the sidelines, pointing and things like that. If I was the fans' favourite Rudkin, I'd pull him into the office and have a little chat and go, "You've been around the club long enough. What do you think? What is this bloke doing?"
Yeah, I think the likelihood is, I mean, they probably know what. They probably know, like, they will know whether they want him here or not. It might, like Kate said, be just a case of can they sack him? Can they sack him with where we are currently with the financial, with the PSR stuff that's going on? If they want to spend in January, if they are going to spend in January, if there is any plan on doing that, even if they're only planning on spending a couple million in January, I mean, that's probably his payoff. His payoff's probably a couple million to sack him. Go on,
I
Graham.
think that sorry, Lox. I think the thing again is, and I heard you heard you guys saying, "Oh, it's been a month since we announced we're going to get a new director of football." Well, I think it takes a little bit of a time to appoint somebody a technical director of football. So I honestly think that they will wait. There's no point in sacking him, appointing a new manager, getting a technical director of football that doesn't like him, and then sacking him again. I also think there's a fear factor of we had two managers last year. I think the money's not the issue. I think the fear factor is, we rightly or wrongly think the senior management is performing badly, and that having two managers last year is not going to look good if we have two managers this year, as long as we don't get relegated.
I think that if they do let him go, it will be a case of Andy King comes in until the new director of football or technical director will be the case. I don't want it to be the case. Look, I don't think he's ready to be a manager at all, but I think that's the way the club will go. It'll be, and as long as we don't get relegated, we can appoint the technical director and then he can pick his manager. But I think the big thing as well is that three or 4 weeks ago, we had rumblings, from certain media outlets that Marty was very close to getting the sack, and we've not had any of that in the last sort of 12 hours or so. So that's why I don't think he's getting sacked.
Yeah. Look, you know me. I like it when the stream's full of spunk, guys, and I think it's had a decent amount of spunk today. So I'm going to end it with a bigger bit of spunk. So everybody get ready. There's been photos. Look, I want to just. This is more of just a bit of a joke end to the stream, but Kate, there's been a lot of things online in the last 24 hours that Top is, playing polo in Thailand, and there's been photos of him celebrating around the pitch with his medals and stuff. Do you care? Because again, as per, there's obviously a lot of people sharing the screenshots saying he doesn't care, and all of this. Or he said he was going to be closer.
Why are you only allowed to care about one thing? Why is it mutually exclusive?
Because he should be dying, Kate, with all of us. He should. No, I don't care either.
Be chained to the desk at the King Power Station. Yes. I don't care. Billionaire owner has fairly middle class hobby. Imagine my shock. And he's pretty good for him.
Do you know that fan that tied himself to the lamppost at Everton with the bike lock? That's what we need. Top on those posts, dying for the cause.
The transfer window isn't open, so you can't do anything in that regard. PSR stuff's all in with this independent commission where there'll be solicitors and all sorts involved. There is a thing called a telephone, and there is a thing called Zoom. The internet exists, I think, in Thailand as well. So it's a real non-story for me. Good for him.
And look, I guess as I can't say his name, but he's one of the world's best polo players by all accounts. So let him go and have his medals and.
It's 2 weeks.
I'll be honest. I can see why people are annoyed about it.
Dakar, and he's at AFCON for a month. So should we just go that?
Tie him to the lamppost. I can understand some of the frustration online, but he's a millionaire that's going to go, or billionaire. Let him go and enjoy some fun. There's no point in getting depressed with the rest of us, is there?
He'd have been playing it when we won the title, and we didn't mention it then.
What about you, Graham? I'm looking forward to this.
Well, as a former player myself, it is peak
you
season.
You are not, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A polo player.
Of course I am.
Of course he is. Look at him.
Complicated to me. Riding a horse and swinging at a ball, oh my god,
it's not easy, and it's quite violent as well. But I've got some stories of that, but we'll do that offline. But I think it's peak season for that. Polo match lasts 45 minutes, an hour. It's good release for him. He's a billionaire. His father played polo. His father was better, I think, slightly better than him. He's a mid-level polo player. In that team, it's kind of a bit like patrons. You get somebody like him who owns it. He brings in an Argentinian guy who's really good and a couple of other players, and he sits in the team and does it. But he's not a bad polo player. And if you see him at polo matches, all he's doing is doing keepy ups with his mates. I think the Argentinian blokes love it.
I will say it's ironic that he loves polo and our team is basically like a polo with a massive hole in the middle.
Hey! And you win today, Steve. You've won today.
You just
Get a wig.
all of the spunk out of the stream, mate. You just
Yeah, let me just wipe that
Give me
screen.
Wow. Can you confirm, Graham? Somebody says Graham definitely eats caviar for breakfast. Can you confirm if that's true, mate?
I like a bit of caviar. You've got to eat it off the back of your hand, but I'm much more of a Cod's Roe person.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to end it there. Yeah, let's end it there. We've covered pretty much everything. We will be back again.
Sorry, that comment, he just put Cheryl sick in the...
I've just seen that. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna end it there. So we've got an exciting week. Well, obviously it's Christmas, duh. But we're gonna on Tuesday we have our Christmas special. There'll be quite a few of us on that one. 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't receive my invite.
I've not invited everybody yet. I'm getting there, Graham. Don't worry. You'll be asleep though, won't you? 7 p.m. What's that for you? About fucking.
For you, I'd stay up to 11 o'clock at night anytime, but no, go on without me. I don't want to ruin anybody's day.
Well, you are going to feature anyway, Graham. You will feature.
Oh, shite. No, okay.
But no, so yeah, make sure to join us for that 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And there will be some familiar faces. Hint. So there you go. Not Jakob, though. Definitely not. Right. Yeah. Make sure to hit a like on the video. Make sure to hit subscribe as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If the manager gets sacked between now and then, of course, we'll be live for that one. So make sure to stay tuned. But yeah, cheers all. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Graham. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, and we'll see you next time. No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, The Beautiful Frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.